fucking balls. Big, hairy balls. And mo balls. Oh, I get too much of a fucking kick out of that. Oh, if I've ever said that I don't have a safe queen, guys, that's a motherfucking lie, because this is my safe queen. Thank you, Kurt. This guy will never see any hard use. Chode, cunt, cocksucker, fucking scrotum swallower. No, these aren't just names for Spyderco fanboys. These are names for the baby shit soft guys who don't want to hear me. So, if you are not into sharp objects, debauchery, bad language, beer, and whiskey, then please give me a big fat thumbs down and get the fuck out of the room. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Saturday. And that in itself is a beautiful thing. But today is a special day. I had a bump. I got a 204P and 20 CV test coming up that I'm going to do tonight and do tomorrow. And an LMAX test with 3 knives that's going to be coming up. But I had to bump those for this test in particular. Steve, what is this test? You know the test because you saw the motherfucking thumbnail. Yes, I'm on my founder's kick again. The Centennial IPAs is so good. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. So, before I get into that, again, there are some thank yous at hand, as always. Vinny and Nero Knives, Pete from Sednada. Without your 2 horrible judgment calls, this channel would not be what it is today. There's also a plethora of wonderful channels. Banner 24/7, Blade Banner, In the Pocket, Outpost 76, Big Red EDC, Blue Collar Survival. You motherfucker. Goddamn, the BCS Army came in full force this morning because that goddamn salesman over there fucking told y'all to come over here, and that was pretty fucking rad. Go give him a follow, especially. Woodland Tactical. Am I missing anybody? I don't think so. But there is one gentleman, the man of the hour, that we're going to talk about today. That man is Roman. He has a channel and an Instagram under the handle K Knives. It's K Knives Switzerland. That's right. He is from Switzerland. He is Swiss. Means he's hella rich. No, I'm kidding. He's not hella rich. But he's a young and up-and-coming knife maker who has befriended me over the last several months, and we've become buds. And he is actually a friend of Triple B, of Sean's. And these are the reason I'm bringing this up is these are 2 guys who are pushing heat treat, especially with Sean with geometry, of what knives can be. And what popped in the mail the other day is this. This is an early model. This is basically a shop knife. This is a very early model. A guy by the name of Atomic Edge Sharpening on Instagram actually bought one in Nitro 77. But this is his model called the Shard. Okay, this is a very EDC-able, very nice, very comfortable size EDC fixed blade. He's also doing folders. He is currently injured right now because he severed a tendon in his finger because his knives are very sharp. And this is in. Can we all see this? Yeah. Faux V, motherfuckers. That's right, it's got 4 more V's than 0 V. It's got 5 less V's than 9 V. He sent this to me to test. And I am very honored, and I am touched, and I am tickled pink by it. You guys hear me, and I've been harping for 6 months or however long it's been now about heat treat, Rockwell, right? Steel ain't shit unless you're heat treating it optimally and hitting it at the optimal HRC. Cheers. Now, he said this to me because this young man, much like Triple B, is doing everything he can to ensure excellent heat treats on his steels. This is an in-house heat treat that he does in his own house. He's got the ovens, the quenching materials, everything from plates for air hardened steels, oil for quenching, you name it. He does his own cryo. He's got liquid nitrogen. The guy's got dry ice. He does the whole thing in-house. All the grinding, he does the grinding wet. Production companies. Not that there's anything wrong with dry grinding, but unless you know what the fuck you're doing, you burn shit. We'll get into that later. So there is no burn factory edge on this, if you should buy one. But yeah, so he said this to me. This is 4V steel, with a fucking killer heat treat and taken to 65 HRC. That is very hard stuff. I don't know if y'all can hear how that sounds. It's very hard stuff. And not only that, it's been heat treated with a whole fuck ton of TLC. So this is kind of the piece de resistance to what I've been talking about. I am more than excited to do this because I wanted to, this would be a chance for me, or at least I thought, a chance to demonstrate what this steel in particular, what a custom, well-done heat treat is and why you want to buy if you're really into performance from custom makers, because they're going to give you the best performance, right? Now, when I got this knife in the group chat, I was fucking dumbfounded. I'll be honest. I was expecting this knife to be hard, but it's 4V. This is not like, you know, Vanix or some kind of LC200N, or 52-100. This is not some kind of excellent sharpening steel that I expected anything out of. I expected this to be very hard and hold an edge very well. And I only received this a couple days ago. What I did not expect, and I've never experienced before, which is what I experienced with this knife, was how it's sharpened. Roman talked to me this morning and was super ecstatic when he saw the video of me because I was kind of dumbfounded by it. And, you know, he said that, and I appreciate this, he said it to me because I'm a chef. And, you know, Triple B laughs at me a lot, and me and him were talking way before I ever did YouTube, and I think, and the big reason that is because I'm a chef. There are a lot of synchronicities between cooking steel and cooking food. There's a lot of synchronicities between making plates of food and selling them and making knives and selling them. There's a lot of failure in both of those. There's a tremendous amount of failure. You have a vision and you have an idea in your head and you have an experience that you want to give the people that are purchasing your product. And there's a lot of trial, error, and failure that goes into that. And you know, Roman says something that was really very nice to him. He's like, you know, you're one of the only people I can think of that actually doesn't make knives right now, but gets all of this. And I don't think he was necessarily talking about just steel talk. He was talking about, I think, the craft of making a knife. Because as a chef, you're a craftsman. Say I'm an artist or someone's an artist, I'll dick slap you. Not an artist. I'm a craftsman. I take items from a raw state and I turn them into a product that I sell for money. That's a craftsman, okay? And these guys are craftsmen. And I do understand that. I don't just sympathize and understand. I do empathize with what they're doing because I know what it's like to take something and fuck up over and over again until you get it right. And I also understand what it's like to put a finished product out the door. And I also understand what it's like to put your work and blood, sweat, and tears out there for criticism. I do it hundreds of times a night. Not just the food critics. There's a thing called Yelp, if anybody hasn't heard of it, or TripAdvisor. Or the Yellow Pages, or Facebook. So I completely understand what it's like to put your heart and soul into something and to be judged by it on a daily basis. So I think that's why, and that's basically why he was saying he sent this to me first. This will be going to Pete over at Sednata in Australia after I'm done with it, and I can afford the shipping. I'm just kidding. But I was blessed and I was honored that he sent it to me first, and that was the reason why. And thank you, Roman. I understand exactly what you mean. And that is true. I do understand, while I don't make knives right now, I do understand the labor of love that it is to make something and sell it to someone and see the experience you can give them in their face. And so going back to that, I was dumbfounded by this steel. This is 4V. This is not an overly complex steel. I'd say it's a mid-carbide steel. But it's also not 52-100 or 1095. This steel sharpens unlike anything I've ever sharpened in my life. It sharpens so fast, so well, and gets so sharp so quickly. It's a testament, again, to the grain of the steel, of his heat treat process, of him removing all the austenite through the cryo process that he does, or the deep freeze process, of him really taking the time to make sure he didn't fuck up the grain on this knife. It's so unbelievably fine. Finer than any production steel I've used. Finer than LC200N, really, that I've used. It's really, really fine, and it defies logic. I mean, quite literally, the first pass on that 1 micron strop, I felt that burr literally pop right. There was no back and forth. There was no, a little came off. There was a completely clean apex with the tiniest burr I could possibly leave on there, off a diamond stone, came off in one fell swoop, and it was just fucking retarded. So much so that, and again, If I sound like I'm sucking Roman's dick, it's because I am, because I'm impressed with this tremendously. And I want everyone to understand. And I've seen a lot of guys hit me up. I did a thing on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, it's at Chef Cutlery, Callari. Go on there. I did a thing real quick. I had to put it up. I ran it through the same progression that I usually do on the steels in here. I gave it a couple extra passes on some bare leather. That was about it. And I had the knife not only whittling hair against the grain, which is typical. I had it whittling again, not just against the grain, but with the grain. Which, for anybody who knows anything about sharpening, you have to have a very, very fine apex. I use the same progression I did with the stones, I do for the testing. It was DMT coarse, DMT fine, and a 1 micron strop. And the steel was just screaming sharp. Absolutely ridiculously screaming sharp. So it just blew my mind. So again, I always talk about how I want my test to be transparent. I want anyone to be able to do this at home. I want anyone to be able to replicate what I do. So what I'm going to do on this test is what I've done on a couple tests. I'm going to film me sharpening. I'm going to cock this camera up, stand up. I'm going to sharpen this knife. And because I want and then I'm going to sharpen the knife and go straight from sharpening into the cut test. To give you guys more time to listen to Logan's wonderful music. Go follow him on Logan Music. The link is in the description on the bottom. The guy who's doing all the music for the videos that I do now, who's allowing me to use his music. And because I want you guys to really see, more so than probably any knife I've ever tested, how quickly this knife is going to get sharp and how much I actually end up cutting. Because it's remarkable. And I want everyone to understand that should you go out and spend the money and get a custom-made knife from him or from Sean, because I'm sure I'll have a knife from Sean in my hand soon. We've talked about it. I want you guys to really see how easy the process is. It's not my ability as a sharpener. How you too can pick up one of these cheap diamond stones for either either a diafold for $20 or one of the other plates I use for $50, and replicate and get the exact same performance I'm about to get out of it. So, yeah, man. Cheers to Roman, everybody. Please go follow him, knives at Switzerland.com. That's his fucking YouTube thing. So go give him a follow, please. Go on there. Everybody go on there. Okay, that's what I'm ready to do. Since BCS wants to be fucking funny about it. Everybody go to Roman's thing, knives_Switzerland. When you find him, I want you to say, balls, motherfucker, sub. And then sub to him, okay? I want to see his page full of balls. That's what I want to see. So yeah, man, not a whole lot to talk about. 4V steel. This steel is, look it up. I guess you can kind of compare it to M4 with no tungsten in it. Does M4 have tungsten? I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, it's a relatively simple mid-carbide steel. And Sean's been raving about it, and I see why. So, without further ado, sharpening and testing, motherfuckers.
About the way I feel today. Is the sun now shining brighter than yesterday? I still feel like hell, but it's a better deal. Music's got me blind and real. Got my soul, the wounds I feel. Now I've got all like hell, but it's a better deal. Music.
Come on, Kelly, I'm doing a video. Both ways. Holy shit.
Real, got my soul, the wounds I feel. Now I've got armor as smart as my shield. I can feel the power, superhuman strength pouring from my veins. Drink the music flowing from this stage. I can feel the power, superhuman strength pouring from my veins. Drink the music flowing from this stage. From this stage. From this stage. From this stage. From this stage.
This is cool. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah. yeah, here we go. You know what, actually? Just to prove a point, because I kept hammering home about how easy that was to sharpen. Remember how I did in that one, what video did I do? 1095. Stropped it back. Let's see what happens with that, shall we? I'm going to strop this motherfucker back and see how many more cuts I can get out of it. I'm going to strop it to a little cut. Printer paper again real quick on a 1 micron strop. And we will see if I can get any more edge life out of this. Just because it's that fucking easy. Oh man, yeah, this is a cheers moment right here. Roman, sir, I'm pouring this one for you, my good man. Roman, sir, excellent, excellent job. Oh man, you want to know the numbers, don't you? Right? We all want to know the numbers, right? What are the numbers? So, I hammer about heat treat, right? And this couldn't have been a better example. That's why I sat down. I got the idea to do this drop back real quick. And the numbers don't lie. It's pretty funny. All right, so. This shit's just bonkers, man. So, let's remember, this is 4V steel. Steel with 4% vanadium and about, I think, almost 1.5% carbon. Taken to 65 Rockwell, right? In the beginning of the video, I kept harping on and highlighting, telling you about how easily this sharpened. If you go to my Instagram, like I said, and I even showed it here. I took this DMT coarse, DMT fine, and a 1 micron strop with 10 passes, and I whittled hair in both directions. If you don't know how hard that is, when you see me or somebody whittling hair, 99.9% of the time it's against the grain. Hair has a grain. Think of those old Pantene Pro V commercials. You know, it has a grain that goes in a certain direction, so you can catch that. Whittling with the grain, going with the grain, is very, very difficult. The edge has to be, I used to say the edge has to be very, very fine. If you have a knife that has extremely fine grain structure, though, we can do that with minimal effort. The reason I showed you the sharpening, I think it was a total of maybe 10 minutes worth of sharpening you saw me do there. is because I really want to emphasize that before I did this test, because my barometer, my meter, my metric for measuring these steels. Let me center myself up real quick. I do, instead of, for my measure, my meter, my barometer, if you will, is the progression. I do the same progression for every steel. Now, certain steels are finer grained than others, right? So they'll be at varying levels of sharpness, right? Because sharpness is very hard to quantify. It's apex width, but they have the machines and the testers. Mr. Gary Creeley, you asked me about that. Send me some S110V, buddy, or your Rex 121. Send me the Rex 121, man. Come on, I want to test it. I'll mail it back. I promise. It'll be super sharp. So while yes, the steels can be at varying levels of sharpness, some guys will point out, but the fact of the matter is that has to do with the grain structure of the steel. If you have a steel with a chunkier grain structure, and I run it through the same progression as one with a finer grain structure, say S110V versus V-Toku 2, the apex is going to be, the scratch pattern will be the same, but the grain structure is not something that any of us can control. So the reason I use that metric is so anybody can repeat that. You know that if you sharpen it to a DMT fine, which is about 600 grit, these are the results you can expect, right? Because the grain structure is something we can't control. So there's no sense in me trying to get each knife at the same sharpness, because it's pointless. Nobody at home is going to go buy a fucking edge tester, and you're not going to, before you go out to work every day, you're not going to test, oh, is this a fucking 50 or 100? No, you're not. You're going to grab a stone, and you're sharpening up, you're going to go, all right, feels good, and you're going to go out the door. So that's why I use the progression as my standard. Again, my test, this channel is all about the regular fucking knife guy, right? That's what I'm trying to do this for. Stuff that you can repeat, you can see at home, and you can apply in your daily life, right? That's why I make it so simple. This knife, okay, and this is the reason I keep harping on this, and I showed you that. I wanted to show that because that's a huge thing, guys. How well a steel sharpens and how quickly it does so is a big part of it. It's awesome if you want to, if you want some 66 HRC steel, right? But if it takes 30 minutes to sharpen it and it doesn't react to stropping very well because it's so hard and the grain structure is so big, it doesn't really, it's not as favorable, right? I'm the type of guy, whether it's kitchen knobs or whether it's my EDC, I want to be able to take a knife and sharpen it maybe once every week or two or whatever it is, and then basically come home, and if I can strop, this is why I favor for EDC steels that strop well, because when I come home, I want to run it over a stropper, a 4 micron strop or something real quick, throw it back in my pocket and forget about it, okay? I don't want to sit there every fucking day and sharpen a fucking knife. I don't, okay? I have more important things to do. I love my knives, but I got other shit I want to do. I don't want to have to sit there and go, oh, I can't carry this because it's fucking dull, and sit there all day and fucking sharpen. No, it's the reason my chef knife, my main driver chef knife, is HAP 40. Takes a phenomenal edge, and that shit at 65 HRC holds it for 2 or 3 shifts in a professional kitchen, and then I can literally strop it up to a working edge those last 3 or 4 days and keep it going in the kitchen. And that's what I appreciate, and that's what I think a lot of guys appreciate. You want a steel that you can strop back real easy, right? Outpost 76 has been doing that series, bringing it back. That's a great point, and I want to hammer on that. Now, the reason I spoke about that so highly was because I knew this was special. I knew there was something, when you sharpen something at 65 HRC and it comes up like 1095, or sharper than 1095, but as fast as 1095. The first time I sharpened this knife, it took me about 20 minutes, and I had to reprofile it. He had a video, he was showing us, he was whacking the steel plate with it, and it had some nicks in it, and he ground it out real quick. I told you his hands messed up. So it wasn't quite at 15 degrees per side, so it was probably 17-ish, so I had to drop it a few degrees, and it still only took me 20 minutes. So I was really surprised how fast this knife sharpened. So that's a point I really want to drive home. When you're dealing with, heat treats, custom heat treats like this, something that Triple B is going to do, something that, Roman's going to do, it's not just the HRC. The heat treat that follows it makes steel do amazing things. And that one of those amazing things is have a knife that's this hard and this wear resistant, sharpen this quickly, right? So that's important to me in my daily life. I think it's important to everybody else's daily life. It's cool if it's fucking 70 HRC, but if I got to stand there for 45 minutes to sharpen it, once every 2 weeks, it's a pain in the dick, right? So that's why I showed you guys the sharpening, how quick it took. And then I decided, let's do the strop back. Because if it's sharpened that easy, then it's got to strop back fairly easy, okay? So this is 4V steel, okay, at 65 HRC. What are the results, Steve? Shut the fuck up. Fast forward, right? Fine edge holding. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new champion. ZDP, my Enduro, was a current champion at 232 feet. We have a new champion. Moment of silence for the ZDP. And then moment's over. So, fine edge holding, 287.4 feet before it would no longer shave arm hair in a 1-inch section. Let me remind you guys that this is a a little over a 2.6 inch cutting edge. So real quick, let's just bring some perspective. In a 1-inch section, this knife cut 287 feet. Span that over 2.5 inches. You're looking at about 500 feet you could cut with this knife before it'll stop shaving hair. Okay? Let's just keep some perspective in this. Working edge. Cut another 81 goddamn time. The working edge was 194.8 feet. The working edge on this knife was greater than all but 3 steels like Cruair, Super Blue, and ZDP. It had greater working edge than those knives had fine edge holding. Okay? That's greater than a lot of steel's total edge holding, 194 feet. Most of the steels I do don't break 200 feet total working edge. So this brought the total working edge of this knife to 482.2 feet on a 1-inch section. That's it. On a 1-inch section of this little knife right here, I cut 482 feet of cardboard before it would no longer cut paper against the grain. Okay? If you see in the video right there was a glitch. The goddamn phone died. I had to plug it back in. Anyway, yeah, so that's a real thing. Okay? This is real life. So, now here we go. Now I decided, when I sat down, I was like, you know what, let me do the strop back, right? Let me see how it strops. Because if it grinds that easy with the stones, right? I gave it, you guys watch me, with this strop right here. This is a paint stirrer with some 1 micron emulsion, diamond emulsion on it. I gave it 10 passes per side. 20. Counted to 20 like this, right? Okay. It's probably sharper doing that. After that, it cut another 123.5 feet, bringing the grand total with 1 strop on a 1-inch section to 605.7 feet. If you taped off a 1-inch section of this knife, went to work and gave it 10 passes on a 1 micron strop on a paint stirrer, you have 600 feet in that 1-inch section. Imagine that over 2.5 inches. Let's say this was a 2-inch blade. Real quick math. That's 1,210 feet with this knife before it'll stop cutting paper. It still cuts cardboard. Let's remember that, guys. Still cuts cardboard, no problem. I'm talking about till it stops cutting paper. When I gave it, I kept the fucking tape on it. If you guys saw, when I stropped this thing back on a 1 micron, not a 4 or a 10 micron strop, 1 micron, very fine. I kept the tape on and I gave it 10 passes. It was shaving arm hair. It went back to shaving hair, like that. It was shaving hair. So I'm willing to bet somewhere at 40 or 50 feet, it probably lost the hair shaving edge again. So this is, guys, man, when I talk about heat treat, and I hammer that shit all the time, this is what I'm talking about. This is what steel should be. Okay? When you spend money on a knife, this... Oh, the phone died. So what was I saying? Okay, yes. This is what... This is what you want steel to be. The reason I'm bringing back, the stropping, it's a testament to how fine that grain is, how much time and effort went into it. So to give you like a quick example, I went back and checked on like that 1095 test that I did. So the 1095 cut for the GEC, I think cut 116 feet total working edge, and then it cut another 30 foot after I stropped it, right? So that 30 foot was 27%. So you got another 27% in edge retention of its total initial sharpness, right after you gave it its original edge. The 123 feet after I stropped this one 10 times, same strop, same compound, everything, to that 482 was 26%. So that's why this is a 4V knife at 65 HRC, and it has the strop back ability. Like you get the same percentage in return when you strop it as, 58, whatever that shit is, GEC 1095. So that 123 feet is 26% of the 42. So if you give it 10 passes on a 1 micron strop, you're going to get 26% of your edge retention that you got off the initial edge. Whereas with 1095, you got 27%. So it's quite literally the same. This is a steel that holds its edge for damn near 5 times as long as that GEC in 1095, but strops back exactly the same and just as easy. So yeah, man, I know I seem like I'm really fluffing Roman right there, because I am. This is something that deserves to be celebrated, man. I'm a chef. If I go to a restaurant and I find a guy who's really putting his guts into something, and the food's amazing and the experience is great, I'm gonna tell everybody about it, and I'm telling my friends about it. You guys are my friends, and this is what I do. So for the knife community. So if I find someone that's doing work like this, I'm gonna gush over it. You know what I mean? It's just. You have to understand, man. I've been sharpening knives for almost about 9 or 10 years now, and I've never been like, what the fuck before with a steel. And this is it's incredible. It really takes you back. You're like, all right, that's pretty fucking impressive. You can make a steel that is that wear resistant and sharpens that well and takes that fine of an edge. Remember, you know what I actually might do now that I think about it? I might actually, since I've got this knife for a little bit, I might do another test and take the edge to just a coarse, or maybe even an extra coarse, like a 220 gritstone, and strop it on that and see if that goes any longer than this edge, because that edge is, the edge on the side, the grain structure on the knife is so fine, it comes up so fast. Usually to get that kind of, to whittle a hair both ways, you're talking, you got to take the edge way far than a DMT fine and a 1 micron strop. So I might see, maybe that might make better use of the I don't know of the the carbides that are in it, the vanadium. Maybe I take it to 220 and strop it on a 1 micron or a 4 micron, and it won't be as sharp initially, but maybe it'll cut longer. So we'll see, man. I think I'll definitely do that. But yeah. Like I said, man, this is super happy with this. This is super cool. I didn't expect any of this, man. But yeah, there you go. There are the results. 287 feet, fine. 482 working edge. Yeah, K Knives _ Switzerland. That's the guy's name. Hit him up. Go on his page. Scream balls all over his page. Be like, Steve told me to come over here. Yeah, if you guys are. And like I said, all in-house, all in-house made. So, yeah, I can't remember what else I said in the rest of the video, because like I said, I was talking and I didn't realize the fucking the power had gone out. I wasn't paying attention. So, yeah, there we go. 4V steel, 65 HRC, that cuts longer than anything I've ever had, and strops back as easy as 1095. Go, it's just silly. We'll see what happens on the next edge test. I got a couple more coming soon. LMAX, like I said, in 204 piece. So, yeah. Rock and roll, guys. Appreciate it. Cheers. Thank you, Roman. Yeah, man. Y'all have a good night.